What's happening? We're back at Bird Surf Shed for another round of shed sessions. Here at the shed, I like to pride myself on having a diversity in the surfboards that we have in here. This time we're going to send some boards up to San Francisco, the Bay Area. We're going to start off with this Brewer here. Probably about 7 foot, roughly 19.5 by solid 3 inches thick. Traditional, or what I would call the traditional Brewer Swallowtail. Comes in from about 1973. Came out of Hawaii, so you know that it's got the fin set further back. True Brewer fin completely with that wide base, straight up pivoty fin.
I mean, it's a Dick Brewer, so you know it's gonna work. It's just a matter of like, if I can ride it or not. It's the Indy and not the Arrow. Might be the case today.
Classic opaque glass job, top and bottom, solid. That's why it's held up so well. Basic little bottom pin line on it. Yeah, good paddler, good solid board. Yeah, can't go wrong. So what we have here is 8.6 gun and shaped by Gary Linden, full tilt gun. Nothing more you can say about that in terms of the design. Narrow, about 18 3/4, 19 maybe. So again, relatively narrow for that time frame. Traditional down rail bottom, V roll through the tail, nice amount of entry rocker in the nose and tail lift in the tail.
Once I was riding it, it reminded me kind of something you'd ride at like huge sunset or something where you want to do some like big bottom turns and like try to do some like carves on like a proper big wave. I don't know, that one that I fell on, it was definitely like, it didn't fit in the curvature of that wave, and like, I was probably like not the right use case for it to like swing under on a late wave like that.
Welcome, howdy, I'm Danny Hess. We're at the wood shop, checking out a few boards. The Linden, this is a classic 90s pipe balsa gun. I was lucky enough to spend a little time with Gary down at his little factory. It's down in Southern California there, and I was really impressed I watched him build a couple of agave blanks, and it was amazing the amount of attention to detail and the amount of work he put into those things. They were so beautiful and really a challenge. Kind of a master, and has definitely been an inspiration to me over the years. And for a balsa gun 8.0, it probably weighs 10 pounds or something like that. It's really light, but still really strong. Beautiful board.
All right, what we have here is a hollow wave board. Earlier 70s, probably between 73 to 75, I'd say. This is a Dick Brewer design. It carries all the traits that you would expect in a Brewer. The full beak nose, flat deck, foil tail. Just a short one, 6 foot, 19 3/4, 3 inches plus on the thickness on this one. Straight up, big wide base, pivoty fin, super thick on the foil, because that was what they were doing at the time. Really nice shape. I mean, considering this is what guys would call a pop-out board, at least at the time, it's a molded board. That's right, like a drum kit, hollow. Because it's hollow, it has a breathing hole. Fill that hole. The hole's there so that when the board expands, these things and pressure or whatnot could balloon up. Pressure gets large inside of them, so that's just a vent, lets it vent out.
The waves are small and tight, so I was trying to surf like how I surf my normal board. I'm trying to pump the board and get speed out of it. Like when it starts getting on the outer bar and it's mushy but clean, this board would do good out there.
Little wings set far in the back, giving you more width. You sink the thing on the rail and that thing's gonna give you bite and drive. And at the last second, when things look all bad and slide out, that little fin can make it or break it. Most of them, unfortunately, didn't get treated very well. There's not a lot around. They had quite a few different shapers. Some of the best shapers in the world, Seabold, Brewer. I mean, a wide variety of guys would give them templates to create the boards. So it's kind of a precursor to like what people would call surf tech type of boards. Anything that wasn't considered to be hand-shaped in a traditional way, you're frowned upon for trying to bring that to the marketplace. People get real touchy on that subject. So that definitely didn't do anything to help the validity of the boards. All right, so next up, we've got a homebrew board for those guys out of the Pacifica area. This is a Keating, a local board builder, very, very well-known surfer from his time, early 60s. Probably one of the first somewhat professional surfers out of that area. At least he was contest oriented. Was invited, I believe, to the Duke in '63 or whatever, where he placed, I believe, 3rd. Hand-shaped, one-owner board. It was built for Hawaii. for a Hawaiian trip. So that was gonna be probably late 69, early 70s, as it has some modern things that you just wouldn't have found on boards by the late 60s. Part of that is gonna be that hard down rail. Down rails coming into the popularities right around that 69, 70 period of time. The flat bottom, hoping to give them more speed and a quicker release on that rail. You can see the dome deck on it as well, where you've got a thin nose, carries the thickness forward into the tail, because as they narrow these boards up and they shorten the boards down, they were trying to figure a way to keep some float in them.
Jumping on the board paddling, it really was super tippy from side to side, even hard to sit on, just sitting out the back waiting for a wave. When I could finally started to feel it after a couple waves, just really being super subtle with the way that you're gonna adjust or draw a line, just barely setting the rail or barely setting the edge and just kind of letting the board take its track it wanted to.
Fin is pretty unusual, but standard for that time. Really cool logo. The logo itself says a lot about the board and the time from which it came. A little over 7 foot. I think we're looking at about 7'4" on this one, and about 18 inches wide at the widest. Again, solid 3 inches thick. And there you have it. That's 4 boards, and that's another Shed Sessions tale.